Hello, and welcome to the Sleepy Brainist, your quiet corner of the internet, where science meets serenity. Tonight, we're going on a gentle journey through the stages of sleep, from the light doze that greets you when you first close your eyes, to the deep, mysterious world of REM, where dreams begin. As your body relaxes and your thoughts begin to slow, let this calm narration guide you through the rhythms of the sleeping brain. Whether you're here to fall asleep or simply to learn in peace, you're in the right place. But before we begin, I'd love to know, where in the world are you listening from tonight? Let me know in the comments below. I love seeing our sleepy little community from all over the globe. Now, let's float into the science of sleep, one gentle stage at a time. When you finally lie down at the end of a long day, there's a quiet shift that begins to take place. Subtle at first, like the soft dimming of lights in a peaceful room. You might still hear the hum of the world around you, a distant car passing by, the tick of a clock, or the rustling of your bed sheets as you settle into just the right position. But as you close your eyes, your awareness begins to turn inward. The outer world slowly fades, and your body prepares to enter one of the most essential, mysterious states of human existence: sleep. Your muscles loosen slightly, your breathing begins to slow, and your heartbeat softens. The thoughts in your mind, which just moments ago might have been full of planning, remembering, or daydreaming, now start to wander. Maybe you recall something random from earlier in the day, a moment of laughter, or the shape of a cloud you noticed. These fragments drift across your mind like leaves on a quiet stream. You're not quite awake, but you're not fully asleep either. You're standing at the threshold. Inside your brain, the shift has already begun. Specialized nerve cells, deep within your brainstem and hypothalamus, are signaling to the rest of the brain that it's time to power down. These cells begin releasing neurotransmitters that promote relaxation, while gradually dialing down the ones that keep you alert. Your body temperature drops ever so slightly, helping to slow your metabolism and signal that it's time for rest. Even your eyelids, though closed, may flicker briefly as you pass through tiny micro-awakenings before letting go completely. At this stage, the boundary between waking and sleeping begins to blur. It's here that many people experience something called a hypnagogic state, a dreamlike condition where reality can mix with imagination. You might see fleeting images or colors behind your closed eyelids. A faint sound might feel exaggerated, or you might think you hear a voice when none is there. Sometimes, a sudden jolt, called a hypnic jerk, can ripple through your body, almost as if your muscles are surprised by how quickly you've begun to let go. If you've ever felt like you were falling just as you were drifting off, that's part of this strange transitional moment. It's completely natural, and in fact, it's a sign that your nervous system is shifting into its nighttime rhythm. Your brain waves, which were buzzing with activity while you were awake, now begin to change. Fast, beta waves give way to slower alpha waves, and then, very gently, to even slower theta waves, signaling that you're leaving the world of conscious awareness and entering a new state of being. During this early stage of falling asleep, you might still be semi-aware of your surroundings. A light might flicker outside your window. You might feel the weight of a blanket on your chest, or hear the gentle rhythm of your breath. But none of it feels urgent. Everything seems softer, quieter, and more distant. The noise of the day no longer pulls at you. Time begins to stretch in strange ways. minutes can feel like seconds or like hours. You're floating now, not quite here, not quite elsewhere. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, your brain is preparing for a journey. It's beginning the first lap of a delicate and complex dance, a pattern it will repeat several times throughout the night. But before it can move deeper into sleep, it needs to gently guide you past the doorway. That doorway is where you are now, still, calm, and beginning to forget the weight of the day. You're letting go, even if you don't realize it. Your mind becomes quieter, the inner monologue fading. The body becomes heavier. The outside world, once sharp and defined, grows blurry and distant. And with each passing breath, you drift a little further. Now that your body has begun to surrender and your thoughts are loosening their grip, you quietly cross into the very first true stage of sleep, stage 1, also known as light sleep. It's a gentle, floating place where you're no longer fully awake, yet not deeply asleep either. Imagine drifting on the surface of a calm lake, weightless, aware only in the vaguest sense that you're even floating at all. In this stage, your brain activity has slowed noticeably. Those quick, flickering beta waves from your waking hours have long subsided. Even the relaxed alpha waves of your twilight state are now fading into slower, rhythmic theta waves. These gentle waves mark a key turning point. They're slower, softer, and more synchronized, as if your brain is slowly tuning itself to a quieter frequency. Your consciousness dims. You're still susceptible to outside noises, but they're beginning to feel less connected to you. A door shutting down the hall might register, but only as a distant ripple in a deepening pool. Your muscles are relaxed, but not completely slack. Every now and then, you might still twitch, your limbs giving one last little shiver of activity before quieting down. The hypnic jerks that often startle people during this stage are still possible, but now they fade more easily into the background. It's as if your body is checking to see whether it's truly time to let go. And when it finds no danger, it releases just a little more. Your eyes, hidden beneath your lids, may move slowly from side to side, a soft, rolling motion that reflects your transition inward. You're no longer taking in the external world through vision. Your focus has turned completely inward. There's no narrative, no dream just yet, but there are sensations. Strange thoughts may arise, disconnected from anything logical. Words might melt into images. A song may play faintly in your mind, with no beginning or end. These are the fragments your brain sends as it slowly reorients itself away from conscious reasoning and towards something deeper. Breathing during this stage becomes more regular and shallow. Your heart rate continues to slow. The parasympathetic nervous system, which governs rest and digestion, takes over completely, signaling safety, restoration, and ease. It's as if your whole being is slipping into a cocoon, wrapping itself in quiet. The outside world doesn't demand anything from you now. There are no decisions to be made, no reactions to offer, no words to speak. It's just you in a peaceful kind of in-between. This stage typically lasts only a few minutes, sometimes 5, sometimes 10. But in these moments, your brain is beginning its nightly work. Cells that were busy all day are now starting to shift into maintenance mode. Tiny glial cells begin preparing to sweep away the metabolic waste your neurons have left behind. Your brain's internal housekeeping is gearing up. It's quiet work, but essential. And it begins here, in this light stage of sleep. You might not even be aware that you've fallen asleep during this stage. Many people, if gently woken during light sleep, believe they were still awake. Time becomes slippery and strange. A minute can stretch or disappear altogether. You might hear someone call your name, only to realize no one's there. Or you may have the sense that you've been thinking deeply, only to discover you can't recall a single clear thought. The most remarkable thing about light sleep is how peaceful it feels. It isn't demanding, it doesn't require effort. You're not yet tangled in dreams or caught in the paralysis of REM. You're simply resting, like a feather slowly descending, not quite touching the ground. Everything in you is beginning to slow, to soften. It's a transition that's as natural as nightfall and just as silent. And while the world outside may continue moving, inside your own body, the great engine of restoration is humming to life. The gears are turning, slowly and quietly. With every breath, your body sinks deeper into stillness. The subtle choreography of sleep has just begun, and stage 1, with all its softness and surrender, is your graceful first step. As you continue to drift gently through the early phases of sleep, something extraordinary begins to unfold inside your mind. Without any conscious effort on your part, the electrical rhythms of your brain begin to shift. The rapid, jagged patterns of daytime thought and awareness, those fast beta waves that once surged through your neurons as you worked, planned, and solved problems, have now faded into a slower, smoother rhythm. The transition is so gradual, so seamless, that you might never even notice it's happening. But deep within your skull, the brain is tuning itself like a symphony, slowing its tempo, preparing for a different kind of performance. The brain waves you're now producing are predominantly theta waves, gentle, flowing patterns that rise and fall like ocean swells. These waves are slower than those of your waking mind, but they're not random. They have a kind of soft order to them, a rhythm that helps usher your consciousness into deeper stages of sleep. And these slower waves don't just indicate that you're asleep, they begin to shape what kind of sleep you're experiencing. You are no longer standing at the threshold, you've crossed it, and the deeper you move, the more your brain begins to act like it's working behind closed curtains. As theta waves roll through the brain's circuits, activity in the thalamus begins to change. The thalamus, a small but powerful relay station in the center of the brain, is responsible for passing sensory information from the outside world into your consciousness. But now, the gates are closing. The thalamus starts to block external signals, acting like a dimmer switch for sensory input. Sounds become dull echoes. Light no longer reaches the center of your awareness. Your brain is choosing, moment by moment, to tune out the world and tune in to itself. This quieting of external input is vital. Your brain needs this retreat to restore itself. But it's not simply shutting down. Instead, it's rerouting its energy inward. In this phase, the brain becomes more introspective, more self-focused. Not in the way we think during the day, but in the way a river turns inward, carving deeper into the earth with time. Thoughts become less like sentences and more like sensations. There's no need to understand. There's only the experience of stillness, of soft currents moving beneath the surface. During this time, your prefrontal cortex, the seat of logic, reason, and decision-making, becomes quieter. This is part of what makes sleep feel so unlike waking life. The voice in your head, that internal narrator, always commenting, judging, and questioning, begins to fall silent. What takes its place isn't silence in the empty sense, but a silence that feels full of quiet activity, of calm reorganization. Memory fragments, emotions, bits of sensory experience from earlier in the day all begin to move gently through the mind, not yet sorted or analyzed, but allowed to drift and dissolve. The shift in brainwaves also allows for changes in muscle tone, reflexes, and bodily awareness. Proprioception, the sense of where your body is in space, begins to fade. You may no longer feel the edges of your fingers or the exact position of your legs under the blanket. This subtle dissociation from the body can sometimes create the illusion of floating or of sinking gently into the bed. It's a deeply peaceful sensation, like being held by the world instead of holding yourself up. And all the while, the brain is monitoring itself in a quiet, background way. It's not watching for danger or scanning for threats anymore. It's measuring how deep you're going. It's adjusting your breathing, fine-tuning your heart rate, and regulating hormone release. Melatonin levels are now elevated, helping to maintain the state of sleep. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is at its lowest, giving your nervous system the green light to rest and repair. The pituitary gland, nestled at the base of your brain, begins to release growth hormone, a crucial ingredient in physical healing, tissue regeneration, and cellular restoration. Even the glymphatic system, a recently discovered waste clearance system in the brain, is now becoming active. As brainwaves slow, the spaces between neurons expand, and cerebrospinal fluid begins to wash through the brain more freely. This fluid moves in rhythmic waves, flushing out toxins and metabolic waste that build up during waking hours. It's a kind of inner cleansing that only happens while you sleep, and it relies heavily on these slower brainwave patterns to do its work. The hippocampus, which stores many of your day's experiences, is also involved in this stage, though its role becomes more prominent later in the night. For now, it's beginning to sort and tag memories, preparing them for consolidation. It's like a librarian gathering scattered pages of a book and arranging them in the right order for later storage. All of this is happening without effort, without awareness, and still, on the surface, you lie quietly in bed, motionless, unaware of the intricate dance unfolding inside your skull. You are a universe of calm electrical rhythm, of quiet repair, of slow and sacred letting go. Your brain, once alive with the chatter of thought, now hums in deep, silent patterns. This is where healing begins, not through action, but through the beautiful stillness of surrender. And as your brainwaves continue to slow, they guide you gently and silently into the next depth of rest. As the quiet patterns of your brainwaves deepen and theta waves ripple gently through your mind, your body begins its own silent transformation. It's a kind of soft descent, an internal slowing that touches every part of you. With each breath, your entire system lets go a little more, releasing tension that may have lingered throughout the day. Your chest rises and falls in a smooth rhythm. Your arms are heavier now. Your legs, resting under the covers, no longer feel like things you need to control or move. The body is entering a state of true surrender. Your heart, which may have been beating faster during the stress and stimulation of your waking hours, now finds a calmer tempo. With the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight mode, taking a step back, the parasympathetic nervous system gently takes the reins. This system is designed for rest, digestion, and healing. It slows your heart rate. It signals your blood vessels to relax. Your blood pressure begins to drop slightly, bringing a sense of calm that can't be achieved while awake. The rhythm of your heart becomes smooth, untroubled, like waves brushing up against a quiet shoreline. Your breathing changes too, deepening without effort. It's as if your body has chosen to breathe for you, with no input from your busy mind. Inhale, exhale. Each breath stretches a little longer than the one before. This rhythmic pattern doesn't just help maintain life. It also nourishes the brain, delivering oxygen in calm, measured doses. Breathing becomes the anchor of this deepening sleep, guiding your body gently towards stillness. Even the tiny muscles that support your lungs relax. You are being breathed rather than doing the breathing. Muscles throughout your body continue to soften. Your jaw, often clenched during the day, now falls into a neutral position. Your hands, which may have held tension or movement only moments before, are now resting openly, palms slightly curled without intention. Your shoulders sink into the bed. Your spine settles. There is no need for posture here. There is no gravity to resist. It's safe to release everything. And with the body letting go, internal systems begin to adjust in ways you may never notice, but that are vital to your health. Your digestion subtly slows, conserving energy. Your body temperature drops by a fraction of a degree, a signal that your metabolic engine is dialing down, using less fuel, preserving resources. This cooling process is more than just a side effect of sleep. It actually helps your body regulate the depth of your sleep stages. The cooler you become, the easier it is for your body to slide into the deeper rhythms of rest. Hormonal activity also begins to shift during this stage. The pineal gland, located deep within your brain, continues releasing melatonin into your bloodstream. This hormone not only supports sleep, but it also influences how your body responds to darkness and light. Melatonin is like the conductor of your body's internal nighttime orchestra, helping coordinate every system to align with the quiet hours. In contrast, stress hormones like cortisol drop to their lowest levels. The urgency of the day is far behind you now. Your body is no longer preparing for action, it's preparing for healing. Even your immune system is affected during this stage. Without the daily barrage of sensory input and activity, your body has more bandwidth to focus on repair. White blood cells, the body's defenders, become more active. Subtle inflammation begins to subside. Any small injuries, strains, or disruptions from the day are quietly noted by your system, and the slow work of cellular restoration begins. The body is now in a state of deep repair, not dramatic or rushed, but steady and methodical. And all the while, you lie still, wrapped in softness, unaware of the work being done within you. Your body, like a finely tuned instrument, knows exactly what to do. It follows rhythms older than memory, built into the architecture of your being. There's no need to guide the process. You're no longer the one in control. You're simply being carried. Even your brain, while shifting deeper into sleep, is carefully regulating this bodily slowdown. Structures like the medulla and the pons quietly monitor your breathing and heart rate, adjusting them with exquisite precision. These ancient parts of your brainstem, which have evolved over millions of years, act like guardians in the dark, keeping watch, keeping balance, so you can drift without worry. And outside of you, the world may still turn, the night may deepen, the wind may blow, but inside, a sanctuary has formed, a temple of stillness, quieted breath, softened heartbeat, lowered temperature, and effortless rhythm. Everything is moving slower now, not in laziness, but in wisdom. The kind of deep, wordless wisdom that the body has always known, that in rest there is power, in stillness there is renewal, in sleep there is healing. And so, with your breathing deep, your heart at peace, and your body resting in perfect balance, the journey continues inward, toward even quieter places where something even more profound is waiting. Now, as your body continues to rest in calm stillness, and your breath flows steadily like a slow tide, you begin to slide more deeply into the second stage of sleep. This is where sleep becomes more structured, more protected. You are no longer just drifting at the edges of rest. You are beginning to be held by it. The world outside has dimmed almost completely, and your inner world has grown quiet and vast. Here, in this stage, the brain enters a delicate rhythm that gently shields you from waking. This is true light sleep, and it forms the foundation for everything that follows. Even though it is still considered a light stage, this phase is far more stable than the one before it. You are less likely to wake from it, and your connection to the outside world fades further. The sounds around you, passing cars, distant voices, the creak of a house settling, become muffled, like they're being heard through water or through a thick veil. Unless they are sharp or sudden, your brain no longer responds to them. The thalamus, that gatekeeper of sensory information, becomes even more selective, filtering out anything that is not urgent. Your inner environment now takes priority. Inside your brain, remarkable patterns begin to appear. If you could watch your brainwaves right now, you would see brief bursts of activity standing out against the calm backdrop of slower theta waves. These bursts are called sleep spindles, tiny flashes of rapid rhythmic brain activity that last for just a second or two. They look like little whirlwinds in the brain's electrical activity, and they serve an important purpose. Sleep spindles are thought to help protect you from awakening. They act as a buffer, a kind of internal noise-cancelling device that lets your brain stay asleep even when disturbances are nearby. The faster and more frequent these spindles, the more resilient your sleep tends to be. But that's not all that's happening. Alongside these sleep spindles, you might also experience something called a K-complex, a large, slow wave that rises suddenly and then drops like a single, deep toll of a bell in the night. These are among the largest waveforms your brain produces during sleep, and they often appear in response to stimuli, a sound, a shift, a sensation, like a check-in from your environment. The K-complex doesn't wake you. Instead, it helps you stay asleep. It's the brain's way of acknowledging a signal and then deciding not to respond. It's as if your mind is saying, "I heard that, but it's safe. Let's keep resting." Together, sleep spindles and K-complexes form the unique electrical fingerprint of stage 2 sleep, and their presence marks the true beginning of your journey into deeper, more restorative rest. They are like gentle guards at the gates of your slumber, ensuring that the precious rhythm of sleep is not interrupted too easily. In this stage, the brain is not just quieting down, it's actively defending its peace. And while the brain does this delicate work, the rest of your body continues to settle. Your muscles are now deeply relaxed, yet not entirely still. You might shift slightly, turn onto your side, or adjust the position of your head. These small movements are natural, even helpful. They prevent stiffness and keep blood flowing freely through your limbs. Yet these movements are done without waking. Your conscious control is resting. Your body simply knows what it needs and takes care of itself in quiet, instinctive ways. Internally, your systems remain steady. Your heart beats slowly and evenly, like a distant drum keeping time. Your breathing is shallow and regular, soft enough to go unnoticed. Blood pressure stays low. Body temperature holds at its slightly reduced level, and deep within, your metabolic rate continues to slow. Your body is conserving energy, preparing to use that saved strength for the deeper stages of sleep that lie ahead. If you had a full night's rest, you would pass through this second stage of sleep many times. In fact, for most people, stage 2 is where they spend the majority of the night. It's not just a brief stop on the way to deeper stages. It's a central part of sleep architecture. It gives your body time to unwind, to disconnect from the demands of the day, and to process what has happened. It's a place of gentle quiet, not as deep as the slow-wave sleep that comes next, and not as vivid as the dream-filled REM, but a place where your mind can breathe, reorganize, and let go of unnecessary tension. During this stage, the brain may begin lightly processing information from your day, not yet sorting or storing it in long-term memory, but preparing it, tagging it, so to speak. This slow, non-dreamlike processing happens quietly in the background. You may not be consciously aware of it, but your mind is already beginning to choose what matters, what fades, what needs to be remembered when you wake. And above all, there is a gentle stillness in this stage, a neutrality, a soft detachment from the world of thought, time, and effort. You are floating in a sea of calm, unbothered by the past, untouched by the future. The pull of gravity feels softer. The edges of the self are less defined. This is not escape. It is restoration. It is the quiet pause your body and mind have waited for all day, and they are using it well. As you remain here, safely wrapped in this light yet essential layer of sleep, your brain is preparing to go deeper still. The rhythms are slowing further, the waves are growing longer. Something ancient is unfolding, and your body knows the way. There is no need to guide it. You are already being carried. Within the quiet cradle of stage 2 sleep, something deeply intricate and mysterious begins to stir. While your body remains still and your breathing flows effortlessly, your brain is not simply asleep. It is engaged in an elegant and vital process that most of us never consciously notice. This is the stage where something called sleep spindles begin to weave their way through the rhythm of your mind. Though they last only a second or two, their presence marks one of the most important features of your sleeping brain's activity. Sleep spindles are brief bursts of rapid brainwave activity, like little electrical flurries that appear suddenly and vanish just as quickly. Imagine tiny sparks of energy quietly dancing across the surface of your brain, quick, concentrated, and rhythmic. They often occur in clusters, popping up in waves as if your brain is sending out pulses of protection. These spindles are generated primarily in the thalamus, a region of the brain that acts like a gatekeeper for sensory information. And when you're asleep, especially in this stage, that gatekeeper becomes far more selective. What sleep spindles do is remarkable. They help the brain isolate itself from the outside world. Imagine that you're floating peacefully in a warm, silent sea. Suddenly, a sound from the outside tries to reach you, A door creaks, a floorboard groans, a dog barks in the distance. Normally, your brain would respond to these sounds, alert and ready to act. But during this phase of sleep spindles step in like a soft shield. They don't block out the sound completely, but they dampen your brain's reaction to it. It's as if the brain receives the signal and quietly whispers, "It's not important right now. Let's stay here." This subtle act of filtering protects the continuity of your sleep. Without spindles, your rest would be more fragile, more easily disturbed. But thanks to these flickering bursts of brainwave activity, you're able to stay in that soft cocoon of calm, even as the world around you continues to move. In fact, studies have shown that people who produce more sleep spindles tend to be more resilient to noise disturbances during the night. It's as if their brains have built-in guards standing watch while they rest. But sleep spindles aren't just shields, they're also builders. During this stage of sleep, the brain is beginning to sort, organize, and strengthen the connections it formed while you were awake. And sleep spindles play a key role in this. They help coordinate communication between the thalamus and the cortex, the outer layer of the brain where higher thinking and memory reside. This connection is crucial because it allows the brain to begin consolidating certain memories, especially those related to learning and motor skills. Let's say you learned something new during the day, maybe a piece of music on the piano or a few words in another language. Those early experiences are still fragile, like footprints in wet sand. They need to be reinforced. And while you sleep spindles help stabilize those memories, gradually turning them from fleeting impressions into lasting knowledge. It's a process known as memory consolidation, and it begins right here in the gentle hum of stage 2. Interestingly, this kind of memory support doesn't just apply to facts or skills. It also extends to emotional memory. Your brain is starting to decide which emotional experiences are worth holding on to and which can be quietly released. The activity of sleep spindles helps in this regulation. By strengthening certain connections and allowing others to fade, your brain is shaping your inner world. It is building the emotional framework through which you will experience your next day. In children and young adults, spindles are particularly active, which may help explain why younger people seem to learn so quickly. But even in adulthood, these spindles remain essential. They keep the lines of communication open between parts of the brain that must work together, even while the conscious mind is completely offline. And though you feel as if you are doing nothing, no thinking, no moving, no planning, your brain is in motion, quietly reinforcing the structure of who you are. And yet, none of this effort feels like effort. There's no pressure in this process. It's as natural as breathing, as soft as moonlight. Your brain doesn't need your help to carry it out. All it requires is that you rest, that you let go, that you surrender to sleep's quiet rhythm. Spindles appear, do their gentle work, and vanish. You will never remember them. You will never hear them. But without them, your sleep would be less nourishing, your mind less clear. Sometimes, during this stage, these spindles may occur in response to internal stimuli, like a shift in heart rate or a slight motion in your limbs. The brain uses them not only as protection from the outside world, but also to regulate the inner environment, to smooth over disruptions that might ripple through the nervous system. They are guardians, yes, but they are also mediators, making peace between body and mind, between movement and stillness. As your night continues and these spindles flicker across your brain's landscape, you remain untouched by the complexities of their work. You lie still, breathing slowly, unaware that deep inside, your brain is tending to your memories, regulating your senses, and carefully preparing you for the deeper stages that lie ahead. It's a beautiful paradox, so much happening, while you do nothing at all. And so, in this gentle rhythm of sleep, with spindles dancing like sparks of moonlight on water, your brain continues its silent labor, leading you further into the calm and restorative world that waits below. As you remain immersed in the stillness of light sleep, protected by the gentle rhythm of sleep spindles, another curious and powerful feature of your brain's nighttime activity begins to make itself known. Like a single deep chime that ripples through a vast chamber, the K-complex emerges, one of the largest and most distinctive brain waves that occur during sleep. Its presence is brief, often lasting less than a second, but its significance is profound. While sleep spindles whisper softly, the K-complex speaks in a low and deliberate voice, commanding attention before releasing it again into the silence. K-complexes are mysterious. They are sudden, sharp bursts of electrical activity, waves that begin with a rapid peak and then slowly roll downward like a gentle landslide of neural energy. They typically appear during stage 2 sleep, and they often arrive in response to subtle external stimuli. A distant sound, a faint touch, or even a shift in your own heartbeat might trigger one. But instead of waking you, the K-complex seems to step in as a decision maker, a gatekeeper of consciousness, evaluating whether something truly deserves your attention or whether you should continue resting undisturbed. Imagine you're lying in a deep, quiet forest at night. A twig snaps somewhere far off. Your ears hear it, but your mind does not stir. Something deep within you registers the sound, considers it, then gently sets it aside. This is what a K-complex does. It allows your sleeping brain to acknowledge the world without becoming tangled in it. It grants you the gift of silence even when silence is momentarily broken. But the role of the K-complex extends beyond just sensory defense. It also plays a part in the quiet internal housekeeping that your brain performs while you sleep. Each K-complex may act as a momentary synchronization event, a reset signal, helping to align neural networks across the brain. Like a conductor's downbeat before the orchestra begins to play, the K-complex may cue the beginning of deeper patterns, helping your brain waves prepare for their slow descent into the deeper stages of sleep. There's even evidence that K-complexes are involved in memory consolidation, not in the vivid way that REM dreams later do, but in a quiet, preparatory fashion, tagging moments, opening pathways, allowing fragments of experience from the day to begin their migration into long-term storage. You won't be aware of this process. It happens in the silence behind your thoughts, in the darkness behind your closed eyes, but it's happening just the same. Quietly, steadily, with every cycle of sleep. Interestingly, not all K-complexes are reactive. Some occur spontaneously, without any external trigger. These internal K-complexes may arise in rhythm with your body's natural cycles, an adjustment in your heart rate, a fluctuation in your breathing, a shift in temperature. It's as if your brain is gently checking in with itself, running diagnostics, making sure everything is unfolding as it should. This process is part of sleep's intelligence, an ancient biological wisdom that keeps you safe while allowing your consciousness to rest. The timing of these events is exquisitely delicate, The K complex doesn't interfere with the peaceful rhythms of sleep spindles. It often appears right before or after one, like a single drumbeat preceding a soft cascade of wind chimes. Together, they create a kind of music, an invisible composition that helps maintain the integrity of your sleep. The K complex commands, the spindle soothes, the brain listens and follows. And while all of this unfolds within your sleeping brain, your body remains calm and unaware. Your muscles are still. Your limbs rest in the position they've found most comfortable. Your face is smooth and expressionless, unbothered by emotion. This is a moment of extraordinary stillness, both inside and out. The self, the voice, the mind, the story of who you are, is silent here, not absent, but at rest, folded gently beneath layers of unconscious repair. You don't have to think about any of this. You don't have to understand how your brain filters sounds or when it chooses to produce a K complex. It's all automatic. It's all wise. This intricate dance has been refined over millennia through countless generations of sleep. It's a deeply rooted biological symphony, one that plays each night without applause, without witness, without interruption, unless something truly needs your attention. And even then, your brain decides to wake or not to wake. Sometimes, in this stage, strange fragments of thought may drift in. Random memories, disjointed images, a word without meaning. These are not yet dreams. They're more like shadows of dreams. The K complex may help brush them aside, gently sweeping the stage clean for deeper, more structured activity to come. You are not dreaming yet, not truly, but you are close. All the while, your brain continues to pulse with purpose, creating these vast waves of coordination. From your thalamus to your cortex, from your brainstem to your autonomic nervous system, everything is working together in silence. No orders are given. No effort is required. It is all unfolding as it should, in time with the rhythms of the night. As the K complex rises and falls in your brain's electrical sea, it leaves no trace you can recall. You won't remember hearing a sound. You won't remember the decision not to wake. You'll only feel, perhaps, when you rise in the morning, that something in you was tended to, protected, watched over, cared for, in ways your waking mind could never fully comprehend. And so, as your brain continues to send out these silent waves of sleep, it guides you ever deeper into the quiet architecture of the night. The spindles still flicker, the K complex still rolls, and the world outside slips further and further away. Now, carried softly through the deeper waters of the night, you begin to enter a new realm of sleep. The air here feels denser, the silence more profound. Your body, already quiet and still, begins to sink even further from the surface of awareness. You are moving beyond light sleep now, beyond the fragile rhythms of drifting thoughts and flickering spindles. This is the beginning of deep sleep, stage 3, and it is unlike anything that has come before. At this point, the brain shifts gears dramatically. Its once active waves, full of chatter and flickering bursts, now begin to slow to their deepest, most grounded rhythm, delta waves. These are the slowest of all brain waves, rising and falling just a few times per second, like massive underwater currents. They carry a weight, a depth, a sense of surrender that even the soft stillness of earlier stages could not quite reach. As delta waves roll through your brain, consciousness fades almost completely. You are not dreaming. You are not remembering. You are not even aware of being unaware. You are simply gone. But though your conscious self has fallen silent, your body is anything but idle. In fact, this stage is often referred to as the healing stage of sleep. It is here, in this wordless depth, that the most profound restoration begins. Your body, freed from the demands of wakefulness, shifts fully into repair mode. Every system, every cell begins to focus not on performance, but on renewal. Tissues begin to mend. Microscopic tears in muscles, caused by daily use, by movement, by gravity itself, are carefully stitched back together. The heart rests deeply, its beats slower and more efficient. The lungs breathe with quiet steadiness. Blood flow increases to muscles and skin, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the places that need them most. Growth hormone is released in pulses, a vital signal that tells the body to repair, rebuild, and replenish itself. This hormone doesn't just help children grow, it helps every body heal. Immune cells are also hard at work now. Natural killer cells patrol your bloodstream, seeking out invaders, cleaning up inflammation, strengthening your internal defenses. Cytokines, the tiny messengers of the immune system, rise and fall in delicate waves, communicating with tissues, identifying what needs attention, what needs rest. It's as if your body holds a quiet meeting in the night, determining what must be done to keep you well, not with words, but with the language of cells, proteins, and energy. Even your bones are engaged in this quiet labor. Though they seem solid and still, bone tissue is always renewing itself, and during deep sleep, this process accelerates. Microscopic damage from daily pressure and strain is gradually smoothed out. Your spine decompresses slightly as gravity releases its grip, allowing space between your vertebrae to gently widen. This subtle shift can't be felt, but it happens nonetheless. In this stage, your physical structure is not only resting, it is being rebuilt. Meanwhile, your brain is also undergoing deep restoration. Although it is no longer as electrically active, it is engaged in one of its most essential functions, cleansing itself. The glymphatic system, which flushes out toxins and metabolic waste from the brain, becomes highly active during deep sleep. Cerebrospinal fluid moves rhythmically through your brain's tissues, washing away the byproducts of thought and energy. These include proteins like beta amyloid, which are linked to memory loss and cognitive decline if they build up over time. Deep sleep, then, is not just about rest. It is a form of long-term protection, a way for the brain to preserve itself. What makes this stage so unique is how deeply cut off you are from the world. Sensory input is at its lowest. Your ears may still register sound, your skin might still feel pressure or warmth, but the signals are barely acknowledged by your sleeping mind. Your thalamus has drawn the curtains. Your brain has closed the gate. Even if someone were to speak your name, you might not respond. And if you did stir, it would be groggy, slow, like rising from the bottom of a still lake. This stage is also why sleep deprivation feels so devastating. Without enough deep sleep, the body struggles to recover. The mind becomes foggy, emotional regulation falters, and even the immune system weakens. Deep sleep is not optional. It is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity, woven into the very fabric of life. Time in this stage can vary throughout the night, but it is most abundant in the first few cycles of sleep. As the night wears on, REM becomes more dominant, but early in the night, your body prioritizes this deep restoration. It knows that healing must come first, that the mind cannot dream clearly, cannot process emotions or memories until the body has first been repaired. And so here you lie, utterly still, deeply surrendered. You are not aware of your breathing. You are not aware of the passage of time. Your sense of self has dissolved, for now, into a larger rhythm. There is no thought, no identity, no story. Only the quiet hum of life renewing itself. Organs communicating without sound. Cells working in harmony. Blood moving through you like a silent river. This is the hidden world within you. A world you visit each night, even if you never remember. A place beneath words, beneath dreams, beneath sensation. And as the slow waves continue to rise and fall in your brain, as the machinery of your body works quietly in the dark, you remain nestled in this sanctuary of deep, dreamless sleep. In this profound state of deep sleep, where your awareness has gently dissolved and your body lies in complete surrender, the real magic of healing unfolds. You are no longer hovering on the edges of sleep, drifting in and out of consciousness. Instead, you have entered a sanctuary of stillness, a place where the body finally begins to repair itself, not just superficially, but at its very core. This stage of sleep is not just about rest. It is about restoration, regeneration, and the quiet renewal of life. At the heart of this healing process is a delicate symphony of hormones and cellular activity, all carefully timed and orchestrated to occur in this precise window of deep, uninterrupted rest. One of the key players in this symphony is growth hormone. Released in pulses during the deepest stages of sleep, this powerful substance moves through the bloodstream like a silent messenger, carrying instructions to tissues all over the body. It tells cells to divide, to rebuild, to strengthen. It stimulates the repair of muscles, the regeneration of skin, and the rebuilding of bone. This is why people who are healing from injuries, illness, or physical exhaustion so often feel the benefits of a good night's sleep, not just in their energy levels, but in their very bones, their joints, their muscles. The body listens closely to these hormonal signals during deep sleep, using them to patch what's been torn, soothe what's been inflamed, and nourish what's been worn thin. Even minor scrapes and invisible micro-tears, the kind caused by everyday movement, are quietly attended to in this silent laboratory of the night. But the healing process doesn't end with the physical. Deep sleep also serves as a kind of emotional detox, not through dreaming or imagery, but through sheer, unfiltered rest. During the day, your nervous system absorbs countless experiences, some uplifting, others stressful or overwhelming. Even if you don't consciously dwell on these things, they leave a mark. They echo in your heartbeat, your breath, the subtle tension in your shoulders, or the clench of your jaw. And when you finally let go into deep sleep, the nervous system takes its first full breath of calm. The sympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for stress, for readiness, for fight and flight, steps down. Its quieter counterpart, the parasympathetic nervous system, takes full control, creating a physiological state of rest, so complete that it touches every organ, every cell. The heart beats slowly and steadily. Blood vessels relax and widen. Digestion becomes more efficient. The liver and kidneys, Those quiet guardians of your internal chemistry filter and process the byproducts of stress with greater ease. The mind may be unconscious, but the body is in conversation with itself, working through the unfinished business of the day. Even the immune system, that intricate web of defenders and messengers, is shaped and strengthened during this phase of sleep. Certain immune cells increase in number and activity. Inflammatory markers decrease. The body uses this window to recalibrate its defenses, to fight off infection, to prepare for the challenges of the next day. Sleep is not just a time of rest, it is a time of strategic preparation, a rebuilding of internal resilience. The healing also reaches into your bones, your ligaments, your connective tissues, the parts of the body that are often slow to recover because they work quietly in the background, holding everything together. In deep sleep, these systems receive what they need. Blood flow increases. Oxygen levels are optimal. Nutrients are delivered with quiet precision. Even your skin, the largest organ of the body, renews itself more efficiently during deep sleep. Collagen production rises. Tiny imperfections are smoothed over. The signs of fatigue and stress begin to fade. And still, through all of this miraculous work, you remain still. You are unaware of the complexity happening within you. There are no dreams here, no movement, no thoughts. You are not needed. Your presence is not required. Your body is working on its own terms, following a script written into your biology long before you were born. The brain, too, is involved in this healing. Though it is quiet, its activity is precise and purposeful. The glymphatic system, a network of channels that flush waste from brain tissue, is in full operation. With each slow wave of neural activity, cerebrospinal fluid flows more freely, bathing the brain, clearing out toxins, and refreshing the internal environment. Proteins that may have built up during the day are gently washed away. Cellular debris is removed. It is like a cleansing rain, rinsing the mind's inner landscape, making room for clarity, for learning, for emotional balance. This process is especially important for long-term brain health. The absence of deep sleep over time has been linked to cognitive decline and memory problems, not because of the dreams we miss, but because of the deep cleaning we forfeit. Without it, the brain cannot maintain the clarity it needs to function. Without it, the fog begins to build. And yet, none of this feels dramatic. There are no loud alarms or sudden movements. Healing in deep sleep is slow, methodical, and utterly peaceful. It is the quiet power of biology doing what it knows how to do best: renew itself. In this way, deep sleep is one of nature's most generous gifts, a form of medicine that requires nothing from you but surrender. As your body lies motionless and your breath flows in calm waves, all of this healing continues beneath the surface. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to earn it. It simply happens because you are asleep, because you have allowed yourself to rest, and because your body remembers what it was made for: to live, to adapt, to heal. The restoration happening now is not separate from who you are. It is you. It is your life, rebuilding itself gently in the silence of the night. As your body rests in the profound stillness of deep sleep, your brain begins to hum with a rhythm so slow and powerful that it becomes the foundation for everything else your mind and body need to heal, to grow, to remember, and to remain balanced. This rhythm is not random. It is the deep, slow, rolling pattern of delta waves. some of the most mysterious and essential electrical signals your brain ever produces. These waves are massive compared to the faster, fluttering rhythms of wakefulness and light sleep. They rise and fall only a few times per second, moving across the brain in great, sweeping arcs, like tides slowly pushing against the shore. These delta waves are the signature of the deepest sleep, what scientists sometimes call slow-wave sleep. But they are not just symbols of rest, they are active participants in your recovery. They allow the brain to enter a synchronized state where neurons pulse together in harmony. Unlike the scattered, busy signals of a waking brain, where different regions light up with competing tasks and decisions, delta wave sleep brings unity, coordination, and silence. It's as if the brain is no longer a crowded room full of voices, but a quiet cathedral where everything echoes together in sacred stillness. During this time, the brain becomes incredibly energy efficient. While it's true that the overall amount of electrical activity is reduced, the purpose and power of that activity become more focused. Neurons fire in unison, then pause, then fire again. These large-scale oscillations create windows of opportunity for memory consolidation, for metabolic clearance, and for the overall recalibration of your nervous system. These slow waves are also essential for maintaining the brain's internal architecture. As you move through the stages of life, learning, adapting, aging, the brain needs a way to prune unnecessary connections and strengthen important ones. Delta wave activity supports this process by providing long periods of reduced input, allowing neural circuits to reset, reorganize, and optimize their pathways. It's a time of deep restructuring, though it happens far below the surface of awareness. It is in the presence of delta waves that the body's most vital hormones are released, especially human growth hormone. This hormone is not only for children or adolescents. Even in adulthood, it plays a key role in tissue repair, muscle growth, bone health, and the metabolism of fat. Without the rhythmic presence of delta sleep, the secretion of this hormone would be interrupted. The signals would be scattered, the instructions incomplete. But when delta waves sweep through the brain, the body listens, and the machinery of healing hums to life. Delta waves also have a profound influence on your emotional health. Even though you're not dreaming in this phase, not yet, your brain is beginning to offload stress. Cortisol levels are at their lowest. The brain's emotional centers, particularly the amygdala, are given time to rest and reset. This allows you to process emotions more calmly when you wake. People who lack slow-wave sleep often report feeling more reactive, more anxious, more prone to emotional turbulence. That's because the deep work of emotional recalibration happens when delta waves are at their peak. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, but it's essential. You may not feel these waves directly, you won't remember them, but they shape how you think, how you feel, how you move, and how your body responds to the world. They are the quiet architects of well-being, drawing unseen lines in the architecture of your health, reinforcing what is stable and clearing what no longer serves you. The stability of delta waves is also critical for protecting sleep continuity. In earlier stages of sleep, you may have been more vulnerable to awakening. A sound, a sensation, a passing thought might have stirred you. But now, in this phase, the thalamus, the brain's sensory relay station, is deeply inhibited. External sounds are muffled, filtered, ignored. The slow waves act as a barrier, reducing your sensitivity to the environment. You are deeply cocooned, shielded not just by silence and darkness, but by the rhythmic activity of your own brain. There's something else delta waves do, something subtle yet powerful. They restore your capacity for wakefulness. That may sound strange, but think of it this way. When you are awake for many hours, your brain builds up sleep pressure. A molecule called adenosine accumulates, creating a sense of fatigue. Deep sleep, and specifically delta wave activity, helps clear this molecule from the brain. In doing so, it reduces sleep pressure and resets your cognitive endurance. This is why, after a night of good sleep rich in delta waves, you can think more clearly, feel more alert, and face the day with greater mental resilience. Some scientists even believe that delta waves may have protective properties for the brain over the long term. There are ongoing studies exploring how disruptions in deep sleep might be linked to neurodegenerative conditions, suggesting that these waves are not just passive background noise, but active guardians of brain health. They support neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and change. They allow old memories to be strengthened, irrelevant ones to fade, and new information to find its place in the grand library of your mind. And while all of this unfolds in perfect silence, you remain completely still. You are not involved in any of it. You are not dreaming. You are not thinking. You are not watching or listening. But your brain is, in its own slow language, it is speaking in waves and rhythms, communicating not in words, but in patterns older than speech, patterns written in the biology of every human life. Delta waves are not just the sound of sleep, they are the pulse of survival. They are the brain's deep breath. They are the lullaby of your nervous system, sung not to comfort you, but to sustain you. And in this gentle, sacred rhythm, you are held. You are cradled in a kind of peace that exists nowhere else in waking life. No alarm, no thought, no effort can reach you here. You are beneath them all, floating not in water, but in frequency. Your body has never been so still. Your mind has never been so quiet. And the waves continue, slow and wide, carving space for healing, for memory, for clarity, for strength. While your body rests in the still cradle of deep sleep and your brain hums with the slow rhythm of delta waves, another quiet transformation is taking place. One that has everything to do with your long-term health, vitality, and resilience. This transformation is happening in a system that for much of human history was completely invisible, the glymphatic system. Only recently discovered by scientists, this intricate network within your brain serves one of the most vital and unspoken purposes of deep sleep: to cleanse and purify the mind. During the day, as you go about your life thinking, moving, solving, reacting, and experiencing, your brain is in constant motion. Neurons fire in rapid patterns, electrical signals bounce across synapses, and billions of tiny reactions take place every second. All this activity is necessary. It's how you learn, how you feel, how you remember, but it also creates waste. Just like a city after a long day of work, your brain produces byproducts that need to be cleaned up. These include excess proteins, fragments of used neurotransmitters, and metabolic residue left behind by the very process of being alive and aware. When you're awake, your body can't fully prioritize this cleanup. The brain's energy and resources are focused on alertness, attention, and interaction with the world. But once you slip into deep sleep, when delta waves sweep through your brain and your sensory gates have closed, the cleanup crew quietly arrives. The glymphatic system, named after the glial cells that support it, begins its work in silence. Cerebrospinal fluid, a clear, watery substance that surrounds your brain and spinal cord, starts to flow more freely through channels formed by the glial cells. This fluid enters the brain's tissue, surrounding the neurons and flushing out waste products with gentle, pulsing movements. What makes this process remarkable is that it only happens efficiently during deep sleep. The slow waves of brain activity appear to act like a pump, guiding the flow of this fluid inward and outward in a kind of rhythmic rinse. The channels through which this fluid travels actually expand during deep sleep, growing larger by as much as 60%, allowing more room for circulation. Like rivers widening after a storm, these pathways become temporarily enlarged to accommodate the task at hand. The fluid moves through the brain's maze-like corridors, washing away toxic molecules like beta amyloid and tau, proteins that, if allowed to accumulate, have been strongly associated with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. So in this quiet, nearly unconscious state, your brain is not just resting, it is being bathed, repaired, and defended against the slow erosion of time. The glymphatic system works alongside the immune system to restore balance, to prepare the brain not just for the coming day, but for the coming years. It is one of the brain's deepest acts of self-preservation, and it happens while you are utterly unaware. And yet, the benefits of this silent cleansing aren't only physical. As the brain flushes out waste, it also resets the chemical environment needed for optimal function. Neurotransmitters, the messengers of the brain, are rebalanced. Receptor sites are cleared. Neural pathways are refreshed, allowing signals to pass more cleanly, more efficiently. This means that the brain you wake up with is not the same as the one you brought to bed. It has been cleaned, recalibrated, and readied. This cleansing process supports not only memory and cognition, but also mood, attention, and emotional regulation. When the glymphatic system functions well, and when deep sleep is sufficient, you're more likely to feel mentally clear and emotionally steady upon waking. Without it, fog sets in, irritability rises, attention becomes scattered. It's as if the clutter of yesterday was never put away. The room of your mind remains messy, dim, a little too full. What makes this process so profound is how effortless it is. You don't need to tell your body to do it. You don't need to understand its timing or mechanisms. All that's required is deep, uninterrupted sleep. The kind of sleep where you're no longer aware of your own name, where the edges of yourself have softened completely, and where delta waves roll through your brain like ocean tides in the dark. It's easy to underestimate the importance of this function because we can't see it. We wake up and carry on, unaware that during the night, something inside us has been performing an invisible surgery, cutting away the unnecessary, removing the harmful, and making space for clarity. Every night that you sleep well, your brain is protected not just from the wear of one day, but from the accumulation of years. And while the glymphatic system continues this slow, steady rinsing of the brain, your body remains quiet. Your temperature is slightly lower, your muscles are relaxed, your breath is soft and regular. You might turn slightly in your sleep, adjust your position, but your consciousness remains untouched. You are still floating beneath the surface, surrounded by the quiet pulse of life renewing itself. This is not sleep as absence. This is sleep as work, as intelligence, as a kind of internal devotion to your well-being. Your brain knows exactly what needs to be done, and it waits until the world is quiet enough, until you are quiet enough to begin. And in the depths of this process, you are being cared for by something much older than memory, much wiser than thought. The act of sleep, then, is not just about tomorrow's energy. It is about long-term balance. It is about protecting the self that you cannot always reach when you are awake. And deep within you, night after night, this ancient ritual continues, fluid flowing, waste being cleared, systems being restored. All of it silent, all of it sacred, all of it working in the shadows while you lie still in the dark. As you remain suspended in this deep and healing state of sleep, your entire body has now entered a unique and precious kind of equilibrium. Breathing moves through you like a quiet breeze, each inhale and exhale arriving not as an effort, but as a gentle pulse of life. Your heartbeat, no longer driven by the demands of thought or emotion, beats with the slow rhythm of peace. Blood flows through your body in smooth, unhurried currents, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every organ, every cell, like a river nourishing the forest floor in the still of night. And here, within this undisturbed stillness, something even more subtle is occurring. Your autonomic nervous system, that vast and intricate web of signals controlling your internal world, is fully immersed in its most restful state. The parasympathetic branch, the one associated with restoration, digestion and conservation, has now taken complete control. It's the internal caretaker, the quiet nurse, tending to your organs and tissues with unwavering focus, while your conscious self drifts far away. Every breath you take now is supported by this quiet guardian. The muscles of your diaphragm expand and contract without command. Your lungs open like wings, then gently close again and again, in a pattern that has carried you from your first breath to this very moment. You don't think about it. You never need to. Breathing is one of the few functions that bridges the world of conscious and unconscious control. But now, in this deep sleep, it is fully automatic, serene, perfectly calibrated to your body's current needs. Your breath is slower than it was in light sleep, much slower than when you were awake. The pauses between inhales are a little longer. The exhales are deeper, more complete. This slowing of breath is not simply a sign of rest. It is a tool of transformation. Each deep breath allows your body to exchange carbon dioxide for oxygen more efficiently. This ensures that your organs, especially your brain and heart, continue receiving the precise fuel they need for repair. The balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide in your blood becomes fine-tuned, delicately optimized, as if your lungs were playing a quiet, nocturnal symphony tuned to the frequency of healing. Your heart responds in harmony. Its rhythm during deep sleep is not only slower, but more regular. The variability between beats, a subtle indicator of stress or relaxation, settles into a smooth pattern. This calm consistency is a signal that your body is safe, untroubled, and fully in repair mode. Blood vessels throughout your body widen slightly, lowering blood pressure and allowing blood to move more freely. This increased circulation isn't chaotic or rushed. It's like the slow swell of a tide, washing over your cells and delivering exactly what is needed, exactly when it is needed. Meanwhile, other systems like digestion and metabolism take this opportunity to restore themselves as well. Although you're not eating, not moving, not even thinking about food, your digestive system uses this time to repair its delicate lining, balance hormone levels, and regulate the microbiome, the community of microscopic organisms that play a crucial role in immunity, mood, and even brain function. The liver, often overworked during the day, now has time to process toxins, balance blood sugar, and regulate the chemicals that influence hunger, energy, and stress. Your kidneys, too, join in this orchestration. Working with reduced demands from the rest of the body, they fine-tune the balance of electrolytes, fluids, and waste products. Their filters, delicate and precise, operate best in this calm environment. Waste is sorted, blood is purified, and your body's inner chemistry finds its way back to balance. The hormonal landscape of your body also shifts in deep sleep. Cortisol, the stress hormone that rises in the early morning to prepare you for wakefulness, remains low at this time, held at bay by the peace of rest. Other hormones, like prolactin and leptin, rise steadily, playing their roles in regulating immune function, mood, and appetite. These hormonal changes are not isolated. They speak to one another across vast distances inside you, coordinating like musicians in a slow, celestial orchestra. Even your skin, often exposed to the harshness of the external world, uses this time to restore its layers. Blood flow to the skin increases. New cells are generated. Wounds begin to heal. The skin barrier strengthens, preparing to shield you again when you rise. Collagen production is enhanced. Tiny lines begin to soften, and the evidence of sunlight, weather, and time fades just a little more beneath the surface. You may not see this healing, but your skin feels it, absorbs it, remembers it. Throughout all of this, your body does not need instruction. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't question. Every system, every organ, every tissue knows what to do. It has known for thousands of generations. Your body is not simply asleep. It is actively orchestrating your survival, your strength, your ability to move through life with resilience and grace. And it's doing all of this while you rest, while your mind drifts deep beneath the surface of awareness. There is something sacred in this silence, a kind of trust, a letting go. Every night, your body asks you to hand over the wheel, and when you do, when you surrender to sleep, it responds with care. It keeps the heart beating, the breath flowing, the cells dividing and healing. It protects what is fragile. It rebuilds what was strained. And all the while, you remain still, carried in the gentle rhythm of life renewing itself. In this place, you are weightless, timeless, unburdened by thought. There is no striving here, no to-do list, no name, no face, no destination, just breath, just pulse, just the soft unfolding of everything you are beneath the story of who you think you are. And as your body continues its slow and sacred repair, the night deepens around you, quiet, steady, and endlessly kind. At some point, deep in the night, after your body has repaired its tissues, after your brain has flushed away the weight of yesterday, after the rhythmic flow of delta waves has soothed every corner of your being, a subtle shift begins to take place. It happens quietly, without any signal or announcement, a change in the landscape of your mind. It begins at the edges of your brainwaves. They quicken, they flutter. Slowly, gently, the still waters of deep sleep begin to ripple. And from this ripple, something extraordinary begins. The onset of REM sleep. REM, rapid eye movement, is unlike any other stage of sleep. It is a paradox, a beautiful contradiction. Your body remains almost completely still, paralyzed from the neck down, and yet your brain becomes more active than it has been all night. In some regions, it is even more active than during wakefulness. Your eyes, though closed, begin to move behind your eyelids, darting back and forth as if watching something unfold just beyond the veil. Something vivid, something strange, something that feels real, though it is not bound by the rules of waking life. This is the stage where dreams arise, not the light, fragmented images of early sleep, but full, immersive, emotionally rich dreamscapes. Here, your mind is free to create without limit. It can bend time, rearrange space, conjure people and places long gone or never known. It can fly, it can fall, it can remember, it can invent. The dreaming brain is not constrained by logic or linearity. It draws from the palette of memory, emotion, imagination, and instinct, painting entire worlds in silence, in darkness, without effort. What allows this to happen is the unique state of the brain during REM. Your brain waves, which were slow and heavy during deep sleep, now resemble the patterns of wakefulness, rapid, low voltage, desynchronized activity. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thought and decision-making, quiets down. In its place, other regions come alive. The limbic system, the visual cortex, the emotional centers. This shift in activation explains why dreams are so vivid, so colorful, so deeply emotional, and yet often so illogical. Your heart rate begins to rise again, fluctuating slightly as your brain dances through its dreamscapes. Breathing becomes more irregular, responding to the rhythm of the mind rather than the needs of the body. Blood pressure rises slightly, brain temperature increases. This heightened state of internal energy, paired with the complete stillness of the body, creates the paradoxical nature of REM sleep. It is a time of intense mental activity within a completely paralyzed physical shell. This paralysis, known as REM atonia, is one of the body's most brilliant safeguards. During this stage, the brain sends signals to inhibit the spinal neurons responsible for voluntary muscle movement. The result is a kind of temporary paralysis, a soft, protective stillness that prevents you from physically acting out your dreams. Without this mechanism, the body might move with the dream, flailing, walking, even shouting. But here, in the gentle grip of REM, the body remains quiet while the mind travels. And what a journey it is. During REM sleep, your brain is not just entertaining itself, it is performing delicate, essential work, especially in the realm of emotional processing. Memories that carry emotional weight, especially those charged with fear, joy, or sorrow, are revisited and softened. Dreams act like a kind of nighttime therapy, helping you revisit intense experiences with the volume turned down. The emotional brain, the amygdala, the hippocampus, gets to explore and reshape events in a safe, symbolic landscape. This is one reason why dreams often feature people we haven't seen in years, or strange reimaginings of familiar places. The mind is not confused, it is reorganizing. This emotional regulation is part of what makes REM so essential. People deprived of REM sleep often report increased irritability, anxiety, and even hallucinations. Without this stage, the mind cannot fully let go of emotional burdens. The stories we carry remain tangled, but through dreaming, the knots begin to loosen. The mind breathes, it reflects, it releases. REM sleep also plays a critical role in learning and memory. When we experience new things during the day, skills, ideas, languages, those memories are first encoded during wakefulness. Then in deeper non-REM sleep, they are consolidated, strengthened. But it's in REM that the brain links them together, finding patterns, drawing associations, connecting them to older knowledge. Creativity blooms here. The mind tests possibilities, makes leaps, draws metaphors, and explores connections that waking logic would never permit. It's why so many artists, scientists, and thinkers credit their dreams with solving problems or inspiring new ideas. The brain in REM is a kind of alchemist, taking raw experience and spinning it into meaning. Even the body benefits from REM sleep in ways we are only beginning to understand. Certain neural circuits that control motor function are rehearsed during REM, even though the muscles themselves are inactive. It's as if the brain is practicing in silence, strengthening coordination and response for the next waking day. Infants, who spend nearly half their sleep in REM, may be using this time to wire and refine their still developing nervous systems. It is a period of invisible growth, of silent calibration, and still you lie there, breathing, still, unaware of the firework display within your skull. You are floating in your dream world, perhaps walking through a forest that never existed, or speaking with someone long gone. Perhaps you are flying, perhaps you are reliving a memory, reshaped by time and emotion. Or maybe your dream has no narrative at all, only sensation, color, movement, symbol. Time does not flow in REM as it does in waking life. A few minutes may stretch into what feels like hours, or entire dreamscapes may pass in seconds. The boundaries of self, space, and logic are fluid, but the experience feels real. So real that when you wake, you may carry the emotions of a dream with you, even if the story fades. REM sleep doesn't happen all at once. It cycles through the night, growing longer and deeper with each rotation. Your first REM period might last only a few minutes. By early morning, it may extend up to an hour. This gradual expansion allows your mind to explore deeper territories, revisit more complex emotional themes, and continue the intricate work of mental and emotional integration. And through all of it, your body remains cradled in silence. Muscles soft, breath rising and falling, eyes darting beneath closed lids, the mind alive, the self dissolved and reimagined again and again. This is the theater of the soul, the night's quiet voyage, the secret world that belongs to each of us when we close our eyes and let go. As your eyes continue to flicker gently beneath closed lids, tracing the invisible shapes of dreams, your body remains utterly still. The contrast is striking. Inside your mind, movement is constant. Faces appear and vanish. Landscapes transform. Memories and imagination fold into one another like drifting clouds. And yet, outside, your limbs do not stir. Your arms rest in perfect softness. Your legs are still. The fingers, once so full of motion and purpose during the day, now lie silent and relaxed. This is one of the most extraordinary paradoxes of REM sleep. Your brain is alive with activity, while your body is locked in a careful, protective stillness. This temporary paralysis, known as REMatonia, is not a malfunction or a weakness. It is a masterpiece of design. As your brain engages in the vivid storytelling of dreams, it sends deliberate signals down through the brainstem to suppress the spinal neurons responsible for voluntary movement. This ensures that while you may dream of running, flying, or embracing someone you love, your physical body remains unmoved, safe, and silent. The mechanism is both subtle and powerful. Deep within the pons, an area of the brainstem, a complex network of neurons begins to glow with activity as REM sleep begins. These neurons release inhibitory neurotransmitters like glycine and GABA, which act directly on the motor neurons of the spinal cord. Like a gentle but unbreakable tether, they block the usual pathways that would carry movement commands from your brain to your muscles. The result is a soft, peaceful paralysis that protects you from your own imagination. This safeguard is more important than it might seem. Without it, every gesture of your dreaming self might be enacted in the physical world. You might toss, turn, speak, or even rise and walk, creating risk to yourself or others. REMatonia draws a soft curtain between the inner world of dreams and the outer world of your body. It allows your dreaming mind to roam freely without consequence, knowing that the body will not follow. And yet, not every part of the body is fully still. The muscles responsible for breathing continue their rhythmic task, unimpeded. The diaphragm rises and falls. The lungs open and close. Your heart beats gently in your chest, adjusting slightly in rhythm with the tempo of your dreams. And your eyes, those silent observers, move rapidly beneath closed lids, mirroring the images dancing across your mind. This eye movement, from which REM gets its name, is more than a quirk. It's a reflection of your brain's engagement with the dream world. Scientists have found that these eye movements often correspond with visual scenes in dreams, left and right, up and down, tracking motion, following figures, scanning light and shadow. It's as if the eyes are still trying to see, even though they are closed to the outside world. They are looking inward now, watching the imagination unfold like a film projected in the theater of the mind. Your body temperature also becomes more sensitive during REM. Unlike in deep sleep, where it is carefully regulated, during REM sleep, the body temporarily loses some ability to respond to external changes in temperature. You no longer shiver when cold or sweat when hot in quite the same way. The hypothalamus, which normally controls thermoregulation, becomes less active. It is another sign of just how inward-focused this stage of sleep is. The external world fades away almost completely. You are no longer in dialogue with your surroundings. Your body becomes a quiet vessel, dedicated entirely to the inner voyage. Even the smallest facial muscles may twitch during REM, especially around the mouth or eyes. These twitches are harmless, little flickers of neural activity that escape the grip of paralysis. They may reflect emotional responses within dreams, laughter, fear, surprise. echoes of your dreaming self briefly appearing at the surface. You might even murmur or whisper without fully waking. These tiny expressions remind us that the boundary between body and mind, while firm, is still porous in the gentle landscape of sleep. Despite the depth of this paralysis, the brain remains watchful. The mechanisms that keep you from moving can be lifted instantly if something truly requires your attention. A loud noise, a sudden sensation, or an internal signal, like pain or illness, can override rematonia and bring you back to wakefulness. It is a delicate balance, deep immersion, but not imprisonment. Protection, but not helplessness. Sleep has evolved to give you the deepest freedom of mind without putting the body at risk. Some people, however, occasionally experience brief disruptions in this balance. Upon waking suddenly from REM, the brain may lift into full consciousness before the atonia has fully released. This can lead to a phenomenon called sleep paralysis, a temporary inability to move while still emerging from a dream state. It can feel disorienting, even frightening, but it is harmless and always passes. It is simply a moment where the boundary between dreaming and waking has not yet fully reformed. This paralysis also means that your body uses almost no energy during REM. Your muscles, being inactive, require very little fuel. This conservation allows your system to direct resources elsewhere, to the brain, to memory consolidation, to emotional integration, and to cellular repair. Your body, though still, is not idle. It is devoting itself to the quiet labor of maintenance and mental healing. And all the while, you lie in perfect stillness, unaware of the processes at play. You are dreaming. Perhaps you are walking down a path that leads nowhere, or speaking a language that doesn't exist. Perhaps you are returning to a childhood home, or flying without wings, or searching for something you've never seen before. And yet, your arms do not move. Your feet do not step forward. Your mouth does not speak. The story plays out entirely within. The protective stillness of REM is not a limitation. It is a gift. It is what allows the mind to explore without end, to express without fear, to imagine without danger. You are safe here, wrapped in your body's own silence, while the theater of dreams continues to unfold behind your closed eyes. And as this stage deepens, as your brain swirls through images and feelings and soundless conversations, your body remains loyal to the rhythm of sleep. Your breath is the tide, your heartbeat is the drum. Your body listens, responds, and waits, all in stillness, while the night moves gently on. Inside the dreaming mind, as the world of REM unfolds, with all its shifting landscapes and symbolic echoes, something deeply important is happening. Not just in images or emotions, but in the very core of your emotional architecture. While your body remains in its protective stillness and your eyes trace the path of unseen dreams, your brain is doing more than imagining. It is processing, repairing, and rebalancing your inner emotional life. Each day, your mind collects a multitude of emotional impressions, moments of joy, anxiety, surprise, frustration, sadness, hope. Some of these emotions are fleeting and harmless. Others carry weight. They may settle somewhere in your memory, unresolved and unspoken, tucked behind the noise of the day, and though you may not revisit them consciously, Your brain does not forget. It holds them, stores them, until the night comes. And in REM sleep, when the mind is freed from the strict constraints of logic and reality, it begins the gentle, intricate task of weaving these emotional threads into meaning. This process doesn't happen in the same way that daytime reflection does. In REM sleep, your brain doesn't work in straight lines. It works in symbols, in connections, in colors and metaphors and fragments. It pulls from your past, blends it with the present, imagines futures, rearranges faces, blends locations, invents new people out of familiar voices. At first glance, the dreams may seem bizarre, but underneath that strangeness is purpose. Beneath the surface chaos is deep emotional logic. During this time, the limbic system, the emotional core of the brain, comes alive. The amygdala, which is involved in processing fear and threat, becomes especially active during REM sleep. This is one reason why dreams can feel so intense, so charged with emotion, even when their events make no logical sense. Your brain is not testing your intelligence. It is exploring your feelings. It is exposing, reviewing, and gently reordering the emotions that could not be fully understood while awake. Imagine it like this. REM sleep is the stage where your brain gently lifts each emotional thread from your day, holds it up to the light, and examines it from all angles. Not in words, not in conscious thought, but in the language of the unconscious. What was hurtful? What was confusing? What still needs to be let go? Through dreams, the brain reshapes these moments, giving them new context, allowing them to unfold again in a symbolic space where they can be safely processed. You may dream of losing something, only to find it again. You may encounter someone who wronged you, and in the dream, you forgive them, or not. You might face a fear, fall from a height, or run from something that can't be seen. These images may feel surreal, but their emotional core is very real. They are your brain's way of exploring how you feel without the pressure of immediate consequences. There is no audience here, no judgment. Only the quiet mind, sorting itself out in the dark. One of the most important aspects of this process is that it allows strong emotions to be felt and released without overwhelming you. In REM sleep, the neurochemical environment of the brain changes dramatically. Norepinephrine, a chemical linked to alertness and fear, drops to nearly undetectable levels. This means that even as the brain revisits emotionally difficult or intense content, the body remains calm. You may feel fear in a dream, but your heart does not race as it would in real life. Your muscles do not tense. You do not cry. This is by design. It gives your brain a safe space to rehearse, to reflect, to re-experience difficult emotions with the volume turned down. This emotional buffering is essential for mental health. People who are deprived of REM sleep for long periods often begin to show signs of emotional instability, irritability, impulsivity, sadness, anxiety. That's because, without this nightly emotional processing, the mind becomes cluttered. The pressure builds. There's nowhere for the unresolved feelings to go. But with regular healthy REM sleep, the system resets itself night after night, not by erasing what happened, but by changing the way your mind holds it. REM dreams don't just soften emotional pain, they also help reinforce positive emotional memories. A moment of kindness from a friend, a burst of inspiration, the joy of laughter, the beauty of a sunset. These too are revisited in dreams. The brain rehearses them, amplifies them, stores them more deeply. Just as REM helps us let go of what's painful, It also helps us hold on to what is meaningful, what is nourishing, what is good. This is the mind's quiet therapy, a session held in darkness, guided not by logic or conversation, but by intuition, memory, and emotion. It's a process that unfolds without your awareness. And yet, when you wake after a full cycle of REM sleep, something feels lighter, clearer. Emotions that weighed heavily the day before may feel a little less sharp. Decisions that once seemed difficult may appear in a softer light. You haven't forgotten what happened, but your relationship to it has shifted, subtly but powerfully. Even when you don't remember your dreams, this emotional reorganization still occurs. The work happens beneath the surface. Some dreams, however, do rise into consciousness. You may wake with a vivid image or a strange, lingering feeling, a face you haven't seen in years, a place you've never been. These fragments may carry emotional truth, even if you don't understand them right away. That's the beauty of REM. The truth it uncovers is often deeper than words. And all of this unfolds while your body lies quietly, cradled in the stillness of the night. Your breath continues. Your heart flows steadily. Muscles remain relaxed, unmoving. The outer world is quiet. But within, the emotional self is being carefully, delicately repaired. Night after night, dream after dream, your mind finds a way to make peace with the past, prepare for the future, and restore its sense of balance. Not through effort, not through force, but through the soft intelligence of sleep. Inside the deeply immersive world of REM sleep, where dreams swirl like smoke and emotional healing flows quietly beneath the surface, a strange and essential phenomenon takes hold. The body becomes unable to move. You may be flying through impossible skies in your dreams, running through a memory from childhood, or reaching out to someone long gone, but your body doesn't budge. Your arms stay still, your legs are unresponsive. Even the muscles that control your posture, your balance, your instinct to shift or roll, are temporarily switched off. You are dreaming, fully immersed, but your physical body is profoundly disconnected from that internal experience. This is the strange and protective gift of REM-atonia, the deliberate paralysis of nearly all skeletal muscles during REM sleep. It is not accidental. It is not dangerous. It is a deeply intelligent function, one that serves to protect you while your brain dives into the often intense, unpredictable, and emotionally charged landscapes of dreams. Because when the dreaming mind is active, it behaves as if what it's experiencing is real. The parts of the brain that light up when you move, speak, or feel something during the day also light up in REM. Your brain doesn't simply imagine experiences, it simulates them. If your body were allowed to act on these simulations, you could easily injure yourself or someone sleeping beside you. To prevent this, the brainstem initiates a kind of lockdown. As REM begins, specialized cells in the pons region of the brainstem send inhibitory signals down through the spinal cord. These signals suppress the activity of motor neurons, the nerve cells that would normally trigger your muscles into motion. The result is a beautiful stillness. Your body becomes an unmoving shell, while your consciousness is swept up in vivid mental activity. This is not sleepwalking. This is not tossing or turning. This is near complete muscular silence, and it is one of the most remarkable adaptations of the human brain. There are a few exceptions. The muscles responsible for breathing remain active, of course. Your diaphragm continues its steady rhythm, drawing air in and out of your lungs, just as it has since the moment you were born. The heart, too, continues its tireless work, adjusting slightly to the emotional tone of your dreams. Your eyes, hidden beneath closed lids, move rapidly in short bursts, echoing the visual drama playing out in your mind. And occasionally, the small muscles of the fingers, toes, or face may twitch, a tiny reminder that the body is not entirely frozen. But overall, the body is held in a quiet, gentle stasis, allowing the dream to unfold safely. This paralysis is not always noticeable. Most people never even realize that their muscles are turned off during REM. They sleep peacefully, dream vividly, and wake with no memory of their motionless state. But sometimes, if the boundary between dreaming and waking becomes blurred, this atonia can briefly persist after the mind has returned to awareness. The result is a temporary and usually harmless experience known as sleep paralysis. In these moments, you may wake up fully alert but find that you cannot move. You might try to lift your arms, to speak, to open your mouth, but nothing responds. Often, this experience lasts only a few seconds, but in the moment, it can feel disorienting or even frightening. Sleep paralysis is simply a delay, a mismatch in the timing of brain and body. Your conscious mind has woken up, but the motor system has not yet been released from its dreaming suspension. In most cases, it resolves quickly, especially if you remain calm and trust that your body is already returning to its normal rhythm. Some cultures throughout history have interpreted this experience through the lens of myth or spirituality, imagining that an unseen force is holding the sleeper down. But science tells us that this, too, is part of the REM state, a natural consequence of the brain's attempt to keep dreaming safe. Interestingly, in some rare cases, this paralysis mechanism can fail. When it does, a person may physically act out their dreams, a condition known as REM sleep behavior disorder. Unlike sleepwalking, which occurs during non-REM stages, this disorder happens during REM and can involve kicking, flailing, or even speaking aloud. It can be dangerous, both for the sleeper and for others nearby, precisely because the dreaming brain behaves as though it's awake. But these cases are rare, and they remind us just how crucial REMatonia is to the balance of healthy sleep. Without it, the dream world would spill out into the physical world, and the boundaries between thought and action would blur in ways that could lead to harm. The stillness of the REM body, then, is more than just a biological quirk. It is a carefully calibrated system of safety and efficiency. It keeps the dream inside the mind, contained like a flame in a lantern. It allows you to experience the full emotional richness of dreams without taking a single step. It protects your muscles, your bones, your breathing patterns, your sleep partner. And it allows your brain to prioritize what it needs most during REM: emotional processing, memory integration, creative exploration, and healing, without interference. There is something deeply poetic about this state. In REM sleep, you are at your most physically helpless, and yet your mind is at its most free. You are motionless, but your inner world is in motion. You are silent, yet filled with unspoken stories. You are asleep, but more vividly alive in your imagination than at any other time in the night. It is a kind of surrender, a letting go, a complete trust in the body's ability to keep itself safe while the mind journeys through the strange, the beautiful, the mysterious. And while all this unfolds, you remain unaware of just how much work your body is doing to hold the space for these dreams. You may feel as if you're floating through your own subconscious, effortlessly. But beneath that illusion of ease is a stunning choreography, a neural ballet of inhibition and activation, of silence and movement, of safety and expression. You are more than just asleep. You are being watched over by your own biology, carried gently through the night by systems you've never had to command or understand. In this suspended state, where the mind roams and the body rests, the boundary between thought and sensation dissolves. You are no longer thinking in the traditional sense. You are experiencing directly, without filters, without doubt. And in this exquisite stillness, the body remains faithfully quiet, honoring the dream, guarding the vessel until it is time to rise again. As the night stretches on and your body continues to rest in its delicate balance of stillness and restoration, you begin to enter a quiet rhythm that underlies the entire architecture of sleep, a cycle that repeats again and again, shaping the night into its own silent pattern. Sleep is not a single, continuous descent into stillness. It is a flowing, circular journey, moving from one stage to the next, again and again, in carefully timed sequences. These repeating patterns are known as sleep cycles, and each one carries you through the intricate choreography of light sleep, deep sleep, and REM, typically lasting around 90 minutes. The 90-minute sleep cycle is like a hidden clock, ticking beneath your skin, synchronized not by numbers but by biology. It begins gently as you fall asleep and drift into stage 1, then slowly deepens into stage 2, where your brain begins to disconnect from the world and prepare for healing. From there, it moves into the profound silence of stage 3, deep sleep, where delta waves rise and your body begins to restore and cleanse itself. Then, just when it seems that sleep has reached its deepest point, the cycle rises again, lifting you slowly back up toward lighter stages, and eventually into REM, the vivid, dreaming, emotionally rich world that bursts to life behind your closed eyes. Each night you pass through 4 to 6 of these cycles, depending on how long you sleep. And within each cycle, the proportions of sleep stages shift. Early in the night, the cycles are tilted toward deep, restorative sleep. Your brain and body prioritize healing, tissue repair, and memory stabilization. Delta waves are strongest in the first 2 or 3 cycles, when your need for physical recovery is greatest. But as the night continues, something changes. The cycles begin to favor REM sleep. The brain starts to devote more and more time to dreaming, to emotional processing, to the delicate weaving of memory and imagination. This changing rhythm is part of what makes a full night's sleep so important. The first half of the night gives your body what it needs: deep rest, physical healing, detoxification, hormone regulation. The second half gives your mind what it needs: REM sleep in longer, richer stretches, full of dreams, insights, and emotional clarity. If sleep is cut short, if you wake too early or sleep only a few hours, you miss out on the later REM-dominant cycles. Your body may have repaired, but your mind hasn't had its time to process. You rise feeling physically rested, perhaps, but emotionally unfinished. The day may feel harder, more confusing, or heavier without knowing exactly why. These cycles also help explain the feeling of waking refreshed or groggy. If you wake naturally at the end of a sleep cycle, your brain is already close to the surface of awareness. It's like rising with the tide, gently. But if you're pulled out of sleep in the middle of deep sleep or REM, the effect can be jarring. Your body may be still drenched in slow waves or caught in the paralysis of a dream, and it takes time to surface. You may feel confused, heavy, or emotionally disoriented. It's not because you slept poorly. It's simply that you were woken in the middle of an internal journey. The architecture of the sleep cycle is both sturdy and flexible. It adapts to your needs. If you are especially tired, if you've been sleep deprived or physically strained, your body may dive into deep sleep more quickly, increasing the time spent in delta wave stages during the first few cycles. This is your body prioritizing healing. If you've had a difficult day emotionally, or if your mind has been overstimulated, your later cycles may contain more REM. The body listens. It adjusts. Each cycle is not just a clock. It is a response to what you need. Between these cycles, you may drift near the edge of wakefulness without ever fully surfacing. Brief moments of near wakefulness, often lasting only seconds, occur between cycles. You may shift position, sigh, or adjust the covers. You might not remember these tiny awakenings at all, but they are part of the rhythm. They help your brain mark the boundary between one dream world and the next. And then, almost always, you slip back into the next descent, the next wave of sleep. Some researchers believe that these cycles reflect not just the needs of the brain, but ancient biological rhythms that stretch back across evolution. Animals, too, move through sleep in cycles. Birds, cats, elephants, even dolphins, all exhibit some form of rhythmic sleep pattern, cycling through stages, adjusting according to their needs, their safety, and their environment. The sleep cycle may be one of the most deeply conserved biological rhythms on Earth, a heartbeat of rest that pulses quietly through the animal kingdom. Even within the cycle, there are micro-patterns. In REM sleep, for example, bursts of eye movement come and go in waves. Muscle atonia deepens and softens. Heart rate fluctuates, mimicking the emotional tone of dreams. The brain does not stay in one state for long. It flows, adjusts, tests boundaries, returns. There is a kind of music to it, composed of chemistry and electricity, synchronized across billions of neurons. You do not have to guide this process. You do not have to know when the cycle begins or ends. Your body knows. Your brain follows the rhythm. Every night, it enters the same dance, moving down into stillness, then up into dreaming, again and again. And even though you may wake and remember only fragments, the full composition plays out within you, shaping your mood, your energy, your memory, your resilience. These sleep cycles are the invisible scaffolding of the night. They are what gives structure to the formless experience of sleep. Without them, rest would be chaotic, shallow, or ineffective. But with them, your nights become a rich and layered experience, a rhythm of descent and ascent, a series of gentle journeys, each one building upon the last, each one drawing you deeper into the healing that only sleep can bring. As your body and brain move through each sleep cycle, descending into deep stillness and rising again into dreaming, the pattern continues silently, hour after hour. And within this repeating rhythm, lies a question that is rarely asked but quietly profound. What happens when something interrupts that rhythm? What happens when a stage of sleep is missed, shortened, or broken? The architecture of sleep is delicate, and though it is remarkably adaptive, it also depends on continuity. When a stage of sleep is disrupted, the entire ecosystem of your night is affected. This ripple effect can reach into your physical health, your emotional well-being, and your ability to think clearly and respond wisely to the world around you. Not every stage of sleep serves the same function, and so not every disruption carries the same consequence. Missing even part of a stage can change the texture of your next day. If, for example, you are pulled from sleep too early and your final cycles of REM are cut short, the emotional processing that would normally take place in that final dreaming stretch is left unfinished. You may not feel it consciously. You may not even remember dreaming at all, but something will be missing. You might wake with a vague sense of unease or emotional heaviness. Events from the previous day may seem louder, less resolved. The mind carries forward what it couldn't process in sleep. Missing deep sleep, on the other hand, especially in the earlier cycles, can leave you physically drained. Without the slow waves of stage 3, your body misses the window for repair. Muscles recover more slowly. The immune system functions less efficiently. Even your skin and bones receive less of the restoration they rely on. Over time, a lack of deep sleep can raise blood pressure, increase inflammation, and weaken the body's natural defenses. And because deep sleep is also when the brain performs its nightly cleansing through the glymphatic system, losing this stage repeatedly may allow toxins to accumulate, fogging mental clarity and dulling memory. Stage 2, the most abundant stage, often goes unnoticed, but it serves as the foundation for deeper rest. It's where sleep spindles and K-complexes shield the brain from disruption, where the nervous system recalibrates, where the body transitions between wakefulness and deeper sleep. If stage 2 is interrupted, the bridge between the waking world and the depths of rest becomes unstable. You may struggle to fall back asleep after waking. Your night may feel fragmented, and even though you spent time in bed, your rest may not have felt whole. Disruption can come in many forms. Sometimes it's external, a sound in the night, a shift in temperature, light bleeding into your room, or even the subtle discomfort of a tangled sheet. Other times, it's internal, a racing thought, a spike of anxiety, a dream that edges too close to a memory. Even digestion or hormone shifts can nudge the brain toward wakefulness before the body is ready. And once that fragile rhythm is broken, it takes time for the body to re-enter the right stage, at the right depth. This is why even short awakenings in the night can leave you feeling less refreshed. It's not about the time you were awake, it's about the place in the cycle where you were pulled from. Sometimes, the mind itself becomes a source of interruption. You may wake suddenly in the early morning hours, the world still dark, but your thoughts already busy. A worry, a plan, a memory. And without realizing it, the transition back into sleep becomes harder. Your brain, sensing potential importance, lifts itself into partial wakefulness, holding you just above the surface. You lie there, still and quiet, but the rhythm has been paused. REM, which thrives on uninterrupted immersion, fades away before completing its work. The consequences of repeated interruptions can be subtle at first. You may feel slightly irritable, a bit forgetful. Emotions may sit closer to the surface. Over time, if sleep is broken often, by stress, by environment, by habits that don't support rest, the effects become deeper. Concentration weakens. The immune system tires. The body begins to operate in a state of repair deficit. And the brain, without enough dream time, may struggle to process the emotional weight it carries. Fortunately, the body is also capable of compensating. If one night is broken or short, the next night's sleep often adjusts. Your brain may drop more quickly into deep sleep, spending longer in stage 3 during the early cycles. Later in the night, REM may become more intense, as if the brain is catching up on dreams that were missed. This is known as rebound sleep. It's not perfect. It can't erase all the effects of lost sleep, but it is a sign of how intelligently the brain and body protect what is essential. Sleep is not just passive rest, it is active recovery. And when it is disrupted, the body responds, trying to restore the balance as quickly as possible. Even naps, when timed carefully, can help compensate. A short nap in the afternoon, especially one that enters light sleep or brief slow wave sleep, can ease the pressure on your next night. It gives the brain a brief moment to reset, even if it doesn't allow for a full cycle. But long naps too close to bedtime can interfere with the rhythm, pushing sleep onset later and reducing total deep and REM sleep. This is the delicate balance sleep requires. Not just quantity, but timing, continuity, and depth. There's also the subtle effect of anticipation. When we fear that our sleep might be disrupted, when we lie in bed worrying about whether we'll rest well, that anxiety alone can create a kind of inner noise. The brain remains slightly more alert. It may hover at the edge of wakefulness, listening for a sound, expecting a thought, preparing for interruption. This preemptive alertness can itself break the flow of sleep cycles, turning a night of rest into a series of shallow dips and brief dreams. The irony is that the harder we try to force sleep, the more we interfere with its natural rhythm. But just as sleep can be interrupted, it can also be protected. Small changes make a difference. Dimming the lights an hour before bed, lowering the room temperature, creating silence or a gentle, predictable sound. Turning away from bright screens, allowing the mind to exhale rather than race. Each of these creates an invitation, not a command, for sleep to arrive and stay. And when it does, uninterrupted, the full cycles unfold as they are meant to. Deep sleep rises, dreams bloom, healing happens. When the rhythm is preserved, when the night flows in full, unbroken waves, the effects ripple into waking life. You feel clearer, calmer, stronger. The world feels a little softer, less sharp around the edges. And your mind, having completed its nightly journey through all the stages, is better equipped to face whatever the next day holds, not just with energy, but with balance. This is the gift of continuous sleep, not just the hours you spend in bed, but the invisible music that plays while you rest. A rhythm that, when left untouched, guides the body and mind through a landscape of quiet healing again and again until the sun rises. As the night deepens and your body continues its silent work of healing, a quieter question begins to emerge, one that floats just beneath the surface of sleep science. tucked between the folds of routine and rest. What about naps? What is their place within this intricate design of sleep cycles, brain waves, and emotional repair? Are they merely short bursts of relief, or are they something more? Fragments of restoration, tiny echoes of the larger nightly symphony. Napping is an ancient behavior. It exists across cultures, across species. In the natural world, many animals don't sleep in one long stretch as humans often try to. Instead, they sleep in multiple short intervals, scattered throughout the day and night. Humans too may be biologically inclined toward more than one sleep period. There is even evidence that in earlier eras, before electric lights stretched the day into artificial length, people often slept in two phases, waking for a while in the night and resting again later. In this light, naps are not interruptions of modern life. They may be remnants of an older, more natural rhythm. When you lie down to nap, especially in the afternoon when your body's internal clock tends to dip, you are re-entering the sleep cycle in miniature. The moment you close your eyes and surrender to that first wave of drowsiness, your brain begins to shift. Beta waves soften into alpha, alpha into theta. Your muscles relax, your thoughts loosen. The outside world begins to blur. If your nap is short, around 10 to 20 minutes, you may only drift through the earlier stages of light sleep. This kind of nap is often referred to as a power nap, and while it may seem fleeting, it carries gentle benefits. In this brief window, your brain is allowed to rest from constant external stimulation. Neural circuits that were taxed all morning have a chance to go offline, even if just for a few minutes. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of decision-making and attention, gets a short pause, allowing it to return sharper, more focused when you awaken. Research shows that even short naps can improve alertness, boost mood, and enhance learning, especially if taken before the mind reaches a state of exhaustion. If your nap extends to 30 or 45 minutes, you may enter deeper stages, perhaps even dipping into the slow wave activity of stage 3. These naps can feel more immersive, more restorative, but they come with a different cost. Waking from deep sleep can lead to what is known as sleep inertia, a temporary state of grogginess, confusion, and reduced mental clarity. It's not harmful, but it can feel disorienting, as if the body has returned before the mind is fully ready. This inertia can last for several minutes, sometimes longer, depending on how abruptly you were pulled from sleep. But if a nap stretches to 90 minutes or more, something different happens. The full cycle has time to unfold. Your brain can glide through light sleep into deep sleep and then rise again into REM. It may be a single rotation, but it mirrors the architecture of nighttime sleep on a smaller scale. These longer naps, often called full cycle naps, can be deeply refreshing. They offer the body physical restoration and the mind a chance to dream. You may even wake from them with vivid impressions or emotional clarity, as if a weight has been lifted, even though you never left your bed. The timing of a nap is just as important as its length. The body's internal clock, governed by the circadian rhythm, naturally dips in energy levels during the afternoon. For most people, this happens between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock p.m., a time when alertness drops and sleepiness gently rises. A nap during this window aligns with your biology. It allows you to rest without interfering too much with the night's sleep. But a nap taken too late in the day can shift the timing of your next sleep onset, pushing your body's schedule later, leading to difficulty falling asleep at night. Not all naps are created equal. Some are intentional, a conscious pause in the day's activity. Others are spontaneous, an unplanned surrender to tiredness. The latter often comes when the body is under strain, whether from illness, emotional stress, or chronic sleep deprivation. In these cases, the nap is not a luxury, it is a message. The body is asking for what it has missed. And when it is granted, even in small doses, it uses the opportunity to repair what it can. There is also a kind of nap that is not entirely physical. It is the nap taken not just to recover from fatigue, but to soften the mind, to rest from overstimulation, from conversation, from expectation. These naps are more like meditations. You may not even fall asleep. You may simply lie in silence, eyes closed, breathing slowed, letting the world drift away. These moments allow your brain to shift out of task mode into a quieter, less goal-oriented state. They offer something that is rare in modern life: permission to be still, even briefly. Napping is also a window into how sleep adapts. For people who struggle with nighttime insomnia, well-timed naps can offer small doses of rest that support overall health. For shift workers, who must sleep against the grain of daylight, naps can be anchors, brief moments to rebalance the nervous system. For new parents, for students, for anyone navigating irregular schedules or high demands, naps are a quiet rebellion against fatigue. They are a way of saying, even if the night was short, even if the world is loud, I can still give myself this moment of restoration. In cultures around the world, the nap is honored, not avoided. The siesta in Spain, the afternoon rest in Italy, the midday quiet in parts of Asia. These traditions recognize something essential: that rest is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is a practice of balance, of recovery, of tuning back into the natural rhythm that pulses beneath the demands of the day. And in each of these naps, no matter how short or long, the body remembers the cycle. The brainwaves adjust. The nervous system exhales. Even a few minutes of rest can help reset the internal stage, allowing you to re-enter life with a little more clarity, a little more strength, a little more kindness toward yourself. In this way, naps are not interruptions of productivity. They are reminders of something deeper, that you are not a machine. You are a living, breathing organism, moved by cycles of light and dark, of tension and release, of doing and resting. The nap, when honored, becomes more than a break. It becomes a ritual of return. A return to quiet, a return to breath, a return to the hidden rhythm that guides you gently back toward balance. Throughout the long night, as you journey through the ebb and flow of sleep cycles, your brain and body move together in a delicate dance, a symphony of rhythms and waves that shape the very essence of rest. This internal music, composed of shifting patterns of electrical activity, breathing, heartbeat, and hormone release, is the foundation of your sleep experience. It is a rhythm older than memory, woven into your biology, and it repeats night after night, creating the invisible architecture upon which healing, restoration, and renewal depend. At the heart of this symphony lies the balance between light and deep, between stillness and movement, between dreaming and silence. The cycles carry you gently from the first moments of drifting when your mind is soft and your body loosens, through stages of protective light sleep, into the profound depths of slow-wave rest, where the body repairs and the brain cleanses. Then they lift you back up into the vivid, emotionally charged world of REM, where dreams bloom and memories are woven anew. This rhythm is not just mechanical, it is alive. It responds to your needs. When you are weary, it deepens. When you are emotionally overwhelmed, it offers more dreaming. When your body is healing, it extends slow waves. Each night, it writes a new story of balance, tuned not by time on a clock, but by the subtle signals of your nervous system. And as you lie quietly, breathing steady, muscles relaxed, your brain orchestrates this flow without your conscious input. You do not need to guide it. You do not need to know the steps. Your biology knows. Your mind follows. It trusts the rhythm. In this dance, every wave matters. The light stages ease you into rest, protecting the sanctuary of sleep from disruption. The deep stages restore the body's strength, clear toxins, and renew cells. The dreaming stages carry your emotions, your memories, and your creativity through a silent workshop where the past is understood and the future imagined. Together, these stages create more than rest. They create transformation. They renew not only your physical form, but your emotional and cognitive being. When this rhythm is honored, when it flows without interruption, you awaken not simply rested, but renewed. Your mind clearer, your heart lighter, your body ready, and so the rhythm continues, cycle after cycle, wave after wave, through the night's gentle embrace. It is the pulse of life itself, beating quietly beneath your skin. A song without words, a dance without steps, a symphony without audience. You are part of this rhythm. You move with it, even when you do not know. And in that movement, in that surrender to sleep's hidden dance, you find the deepest kind of rest, the kind that heals, that restores, that holds you softly until the dawn. Thank you for joining me on this gentle journey through the mysterious stages of sleep, the quiet rhythms that cradle us every night and renew us in ways both seen and unseen. Sleep is so much more than rest. It is a sacred process of healing, dreaming, and transformation that our bodies and minds rely on deeply. Understanding these stages helps us appreciate the delicate balance our brain and body maintain to keep us healthy, emotionally whole, and ready for each new day. If you found peace or curiosity in this exploration, I invite you to carry this awareness with you tonight. As you close your eyes, may you feel the quiet unfolding of sleep's magic, the soft waves of rest washing over you, guiding you into deep healing and vivid dreams. Wherever you are in the world, whatever your story, remember that sleep is your constant companion, always working to support you, even when you are unaware. If you're comfortable, I'd love to hear from you. Where in the world you're watching from, what your favorite part of the sleep journey was, or even just a simple hello. Your presence here means a lot, and this community grows stronger with every shared experience. Before you drift away, don't forget to take a moment to care for your sleep environment. Dim the lights, breathe slowly, and let go of the day's worries. Your body and mind will thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so you won't miss future journeys into the wonders of the mind and body. Until next time, may your nights be peaceful and your dreams be kind. Sleep well, and I'll see you in the next video.